Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next lesson in the Su-25T Cadet series. This time we're going to learn how to use the ILS landing system, instrument landing system. It is very similar to the autopilot landing system. There's almost no difference. But this time we're going to use the analog instruments. We're going to use the ADI here using the vertical yellow line and the horizontal yellow line. We're gonna use the HSI using our distance marker, desired heading, course needle and bearing needle, and we're gonna use our VVI. The scenario here is that I have completed my attacks. I want to return home. I need to refuel, rearm, and so on. So, what I would do first is to push the navigation mode button until it says return mode. Now I know that I need to go heading 189 for 16 kilometers. And as you can see, the HUD also says that, but we will not be using the HUD. We ignore the HUD. Let's turn it all the way down. So now we only have the manual instruments. One other thing we can do is to call up to the ATC or GCI, Cadet inbound.
1-0-0. Кабулете. Следуйте курсом 189. Удаление 1,6. Давление 758,53. Посадочный 0,7. Занимайте высоту круга.
Perfect. The needle or an instrument I'm using right now is the HSI. I want to get to the return point, and from the return point I want to get to the landing point, which is the runway. Right now I'm practically ignoring the ADI. I'm not going to use that now. I'm using the HSI because I'm going to the steer point. So let's get to the steer point. And as GCI or ATC confirmed, 189 for 16. Let's do that. You can also use the ADI right now to get you at the correct altitude. As you saw, the ADI, the yellow line suddenly dropped. That means I need to descend to be at the planned altitude when I arrive at my steer point, that is now my return point. Therefore I need to descend. And I have 11.5 kilometers to do that, so it is okay. And never descend sharply, always do it in a calm, relaxed manner. And since I'm descending, I can save some fuel, so the throttle is all the way back. As we all know, the Su-25 and Su-25T is very happy to glide. So 6.5 kilometers, still not at the planned altitude. Bit more descent. The planned altitude is slowly coming up. Therefore I'm ready to level out. And as you saw, the HSI suddenly turned to the left. As you know, I need to be at runway 07. My course needle is pointing directly at 07. But I need to get my bearing needle or heading needle aligned completely and perfectly with my heading needle to make sure that I'm heading 270 at the runway. because one thing is very important to remember. That is, if you take a look at the map, heading 07 does not mean that we will always be at the runway, because we can fly heading 270 here, here, and here. Don't forget that it is just a heading. It is not a landing path. Therefore, we need to align our heading needle and course needle to make sure that we are coming in at heading 2 or 07 perfectly aligned with the runway. If we just follow the course needle, we will just go 07 somewhere. So that is why we need those two aligned. For helping me do that, I have the ADI now. What I'm looking at is the vertical yellow line. I want to make enough left roll so that the vertical yellow line goes through the dot in the circle here. When it does that, I am at the perfect roll towards that steer point. Also, yellow line, horizontal yellow line is my altitude. As I approach the runway, that yellow line will slowly descend. Means I need to follow that. And a perfect glide path is a constant descent here in the VVI that is completely synchronized with the descent of that yellow horizontal line. When you have that, you have the perfect descent. So right now I'm heading towards, I'm rolling to the left according to the vertical yellow line here, but to make sure that I don't cross over these alignment and then I need to go back and then back and then back, I'm gonna, when these are very close to each other, I'm gonna make a rather hard left turn towards 07 and ignoring this line, because this line will change as soon as I hit the perfect course, and I need to turn a bit earlier for intercepting that course. So descending a bit, and I'm turning now to the left, pretty hard turn, and see, there was too little or too late almost. And as you saw here, right now those two red bars disappeared. That means I have picked up the glide path, the ILS instrument landing system glide path signal from the runway. That means that I am now in the glide path, I am now in the zone. That means that I am very aligned with the runway now. So the closer I can maintain 07 heading and get these two needles aligned, the better. And level out. Need a bit to the left. Too high. To the right. Right now I'm following the ADI, follow the vertical horizontal yellow line. I need to make sure that my speed is slow enough to gear out, so I will deploy air brakes following the yellow horizontal line, making sure that I'm so close or close enough to
1-0-0.
07.
Работайте с посадкой.
Good altitude is coming up, following the horizontal yellow line. 8.5 kilometers left, and I'm practically perfectly aligned right now. I'm following the the ADI a bit too high, a bit too low. Constantly adjusting. Speed is 400, gear down. First notch of flaps. Ballooning a bit. 5 kilometers. Make sure that I'm on the glide path. Making the yellow lines on the ADI cross. Outer marker, that is 4 kilometers away. And I'm at 07, so I need to maintain this one.
Кабулете, проверьте выпуск шасси.
Full flaps.
Посадочный 07.
Perfect on the glide path. A bit too fast. Need to descend a bit. 2 kilometers. Need to descend a bit. Slowly descending, not violently, just slowly control descent. Inner marker, that is 1.5 kilometers. And I can see the runway. I'm going visual now. Throttling up. Bit hard landing. That was close to stalling. Keeping my stick back to aero brake. And deploying brake chute. Speed is coming down. 150. 100. Detaching brake chute. Flaps all up. Air brake in. And we are landed. That is how you navigate with the ILS. With the instruments only. So you don't need the HUD, and sometimes it is very good to train without those fancy screen and monitors and help and everything else. Because now I know that even if I get a battle damage and my HUD is out of order, I can still get back. So that is how you do it.